Hi everybody. Welcome back to the creative playground. Yay, I realize stuff isn't on. Let's put it back on. Yay, okay. All fixed. So yes, as always, let me know how you're doing, where you're watching from, all that good stuff. Yeah, and it's still March. It's still Women's History Month. Technically, it's spring, so happy spring to everybody. Yay! Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if everything is good. It's saying that I'm having connection problems, so I just want to make sure that I'm all good to go. But anyway, even with connection problems and issues, yeah, I'm glad that you're here. I hope that your day is starting off well. I hope your week is starting off well. Let me put on my glasses so I can actually see. And so if you saw the title of the video, it's about multi-passionate people, or multi-passionate creatives, more specifically. But yeah, let me know how you're doing and if you can see everything first before we get into it. All right. Okay, cool. The connection says it's fine now. Okay, good. Okay, so welcome everybody to the Creative Playground. My name is Alicia Renice. I am a multi-passionate creative artist, and we're actually going to talk about being multi-passionate today. Oh, yay! Okay, you can hear me. Yay! Hi, Masika. Hi, Jay. Hi. Hello. How are you? All right. So again, if I go in and out, just let me know, and it's fine. We'll keep on keeping on. Please let the internet be fine. Okay, so today we're actually going to talk about being multi-passionate. And this is something that I kind of stumbled upon maybe a few years ago. Oh, yay. Girl Groups in the 60s says, just watched your video with your husband. I love your vlogs. Oh, yeah, I'm glad. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Yeah, so if you don't know, me and my husband RV'd, or we were full-time RVers. What year is this? 2 years ago, I guess, technically? No, like a year ago. No, yes, like a year and a half ago. We started full-time RVing, and so we recently put out a vlog where we were sharing our journey to boondocking, which means like you're dry camping, like without hookups and stuff in an RV in Colorado, and we were trying to like maneuver mountains and stuff, and our RV like almost went over a cliff because my husband was driving the RV and the wheel was literally like on the edge, and so if it had went over the edge, oh, okay, if it went over the edge, then it would have been sayonara RV, because it would have been kaput. It would have been done. Okay, you said the audio is fine, just the video is a bit laggy. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what's going on with the connection because it was just fine, but now it's saying it's having connection issues. So hopefully we can still continue as long as you can hear me. I guess that's the best part. That's the best part because we're going to be doing some talking. And I'm going to show you some stuff too, so hopefully that'll come up later. But either way, I hope that you guys are having a wonderful week. It's only Monday, but I'm hoping you're having a wonderful start to your week. Let's start there. So yay. Thank you for being here. All right. So multi-passionate creative. This is something that I came across, I think, a few years ago, and it really resonated with me because I just felt like as a creative, I didn't know where I fit. You know, growing up in school, everybody's talking about all the things that they want to be, all the things they want to do. And so in the school system, they're, oh, yay. You said your bestie should be joining soon. Yay, welcome them. Bring them over. That'd be great. Love to have them. Aw, that's sweet. Thank you. So I think in school, I talk about school a lot because I really feel like that's like the foundation where dreams die. Like this is the place where dreams go to die as creatives. I think when you're a child, like maybe like kindergarten to like fourth grade, it's kind of like, oh, whatever, do your thing, create all this stuff, experiment, play, enjoy, frolic and be free. And then at some point, like around like sixth grade or seventh grade, now we have to start thinking about like recess is taken away. We have to start thinking about our next steps in life. Like, oh, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know, and when you're a child, like younger, people ask you what you want to be when you grow up, but they're not really like asking you like, oh, what are you going to study in college? They're just like, oh, the world is free. You can do anything in the world. Everything is the world is your oyster, as people like to say. And I feel like, again, around sixth grade, seventh grade, eighth grade, it's more like, okay, what are you going to do? Because you have 4 more years until you're up out of here and you got to figure out what you're going to do next, what schools you're going to apply to, what programs you're going to study. Even in PG County, where I grew up and some of my friends grew up, they had tracks. So they had like biotech strand, and for some people did entrepreneurial strand, or what else? What else did they have? Science and tech, creative arts, these kinds of things. So different schools had different focuses and different programs for students. And so if you wanted to learn about science and tech, then you would go to Oxon Hill High School. If you wanted to learn about biotechnology, you would go to Largo High School. And again, this is in PG County. And I'm sure that other counties had similar situations like this. But really, they started feeding you and filtering you through the system so that you can be, I guess, better prepared as an adult, to go on to the next thing, to study the right things in college and all this other stuff. But you're in middle school. You don't know anything that you really want to do. You don't even know who you really are. You're not really like an adult yet. You don't really have an informed opinion about yourself. You're just kind of like, you're a child. You're just kind of going with the flow and doing what everybody else is telling you to do. But then again, you go to high school and they're like, okay, now you're in biotech strand and now you're going to study this thing. And you're going to, focus on biotechnology for 4 years. And this is what I did. I went to Largo High School and I focused on biotechnology. Couldn't tell you much about what I learned, but I remember just wanting to continue the program because I was in TAG program, and a lot of other places it's called something else, but it's called Talented and Gifted program. And so basically that means that you're supposed to be the special smart kid, and then you go to like these special smart classes. I have opinions about that now as I'm older. I think that's very elitist, and that's a whole other thing, this whole other conversation. But for the sake of this conversation, I was in the TAG program in PG County. And so I just thought, I should continue the TAG program. So I'm going to do biotechnology strand at Largo High School because that was the only thing I think I qualified for and the only place that I wanted to go. And my friends were going to Largo. So I was like, I'll just go there. Oh, welcome. Hi, Brenda. Shaughnessy. Hi, how are you? I'm glad that you're here and I'm glad that you like them. All right. Oh, that's sweet. Thank you. So in middle school, I'm like, okay, I'm going to study biotechnology. Now, I had no interest in being a scientist, none. But I knew that in order to go to the schools that I really wanted to go, I had to play the game. I had to do what I had to do. So even in Largo High School, I was studying biotechnology. Again, couldn't tell you anything. It sounds fancier than what it really is. And I'm sure people took it and went on to do amazing things with it. But I knew that that's not what God had in store for me in the future. So even while I was at Largo, I played a lot of sports. Every season I played a sport. I played tennis, softball one year, then tennis the other year. I swam and volleyball. Volleyball was my favorite sport ever. I swam, tennis, softball, and volleyball. And I was also involved in choir. I was involved in newspaper. What else did I do? I did a lot of stuff. I was just in things. I just wanted to make things. And so for me in high school, that was like my playground. Like I felt like I could do anything. And I was making, towards the end of my career, I was making pretty good grades and I was hoping to get into a school, and I was hoping that they would see all these extracurriculars and be like, oh, we got to give this girl some money. They never gave me no money, but that's okay. But I still did it because I loved it. I was loving, and I had a job. Like, that's crazy. Anyway, I was doing this stuff because I loved it. And so back then I knew what I knew now is that I love doing a lot of things. There was not one thing that I was just like, okay, I'm going to be this when I grow up. When they asked us, they said, when they asked us what you want to be when you grow up, I had 3 professions on there. I said, I want to be a teacher, an ASL interpreter, and an author, I think. I think those are my 3 things. And really in my heart of hearts, I wanted to be a singer, but I just didn't see how that was going to happen for myself. I didn't know. I was like, I'm probably not going to be signed. So let me get a real job and focus on something that's actually attainable. So yeah, that's basically how I settled on, and truth be told, I really did settle on teaching because I was like, I like to read. I like to teach. I like to, inspire and encourage people. Music was always there, but I didn't know. I couldn't read music. I couldn't really do anything with it, besides sing. And so I'm just like, that's not really a viable option for a career unless you're famous. And so again, this is back in this is 2008 when I graduated. So it was a while ago. So at the time there was no SoundCloud. There was no people popping on YouTube. There was no people discovering you random places. And so I was just kind of like, oh, it's probably not going to happen for me. Let me check the comments. Brenda says, hello, miss. Hi. I saw some of your videos and enjoyed them very much. I'm glad. Especially when you did love, You should get that press on a record. Ooh, that'd be amazing. I would love to do that. That's one of my favorite songs. Yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. And my grandmother, she lives in Florida. She loves when I sing that song. And it just brings me so much joy. Like whenever I sing it, I think of her. But yes, thank you so much. Shaughnessy says, the other day I was scrolling around Reddit and was reading where people who majored in fields like finance and nursing said they regretted their decisions. It's not just the art students. Yes, I agree. Yes, Alicia's rendition of that song is beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Y'all gonna make me blush. Crystal says, I'm the same way. Yeah. See, like, and again, to this, Shaughnessy, to this point, like, it isn't just art students. It's really just, it's amazing to me how much we're like herded, like down a tunnel. Like, even if you don't know what you want to do, if you have no clue, they're like, oh, well, you need to go to school for something. So we got to pick something. You know what I mean? And then later on, people end up regretting it. They make this decision that's expensive and time consuming. And then at the end, you're like, I don't even want to do this. Why am I doing this? It's really sad, but it happens all the time. So yeah, so again, did all this stuff, didn't get a scholarship, went to school for ASL interpreting, or actually it was deaf studies, which is ASL, period. And so later I found out I had to go to more schooling, but that's a whole other conversation. And really, I was frustrated in my classes because in the beginning of your college career, I think it's a ploy to get more money. But again, this is just my thought. You have all these electives. They're like, oh, take Spanish and take this writing class. But college is really like, we've done this already. Like high school was the breeding ground for experimenting and playing. But they're like, no, we want a well-rounded person and we want you to touch everything. And it's like, lady, like that's what my grade school career was, me touching everything. And which is why I decided to major in a certain thing. And I can understand for people who are undecided, like, yes, taste everything, try everything to figure out what you really want to do. But I don't think you should do that on a college dime because it's just a very expensive choice to make when you're undecided. When people are undecided, I say, don't go to school. Like, just take a year off, experiment and try things on your own time, on your own dime, so that you're not paying for it later on, like 50 years down the line. Like, when I look at my bill, y'all, and I see that my expected pay date is like, it's amazing to me how far this pay date goes. But anyway, so in college, they want you to take all these electives. And so I was taking these electives and they were fun, but it wasn't really a lot of room to play and experiment. It was more like, oh, you need to make these grades. And if you don't make these grades, then, you're done for. So it's like, okay, you don't really have room to play, but they want you to play and be well-rounded, which is like, it's a flawed system. So you're majoring in this major, but I found myself in classes doing everything but the schoolwork. Like, I was writing stories in between classes. I was writing songs. Downstairs in our dorm room, they had a piano. And I would just go down to that piano, and I can only play by ear. Like, I can't read music. I tried taking music classes at Towson. That's the school I went to, Towson University in Baltimore. And it was like there was a mental block. I could not, for the life of me, figure out how to read music. And then once I thought I had it down, it was totally wrong. Like, and I'm just like, okay, forget it, because this is going to make me hate music. This is going to make me hate composing. This is going to make me hate it. And speaking to a lot of other people who majored in music at that college, specifically Black people, it made them hate music because it was a very white space. And so a lot of our voices weren't appreciated. A lot of our styles of music weren't appreciated. Which is really unfortunate because Black music is really like the foundation for like all American music. But again, that's a whole other conversation. But I'm really glad that it didn't work out for me in that music department because I didn't want to hate music. And so I would go downstairs in the dorm room and play around on the piano and make up make up songs. And that was bringing me so much joy. And I was just like, in these stolen moments, I would be creating the life I actually wanted to live. I was taste testing everything. I was doing everything, but it just wasn't on paper. Like, it wasn't on the curriculum, wasn't in the curriculum to try everything like that. And so I don't even know if school was really for me, but I'm glad that I went because one, I found friends that I have for life, Lord willing. I'm glad for the experiences I had, but I think I could have done all that stuff at home. I could have played on my Casio machine at home. I could have written stories in my bedroom. Like, and I get it. Like, I understand the importance of schooling and all this other stuff. I'm not anti-school, but just being at Towson, which is a predominantly white institution, it was just very draining because we're already trying to seek our little small spaces, and then we're not even appreciated for what our people contributed to this country. It's weird. It's very strange. Shaughnessy says, right, it's an expensive decision to make at 18. I agree. It's predatory. These loans are predatory. These colleges are predatory. It doesn't make any sense. Miss Brenda says, I was a secretary, grocery store worker, and a bar worker before I joined Motown. Nice. Funny, right? Honestly, I feel like that's a path for a lot of musicians. Like, they're usually people who are, doing art centered work, I guess, art focused work. They have to do like multiple jobs, which is like, I feel like, which is amazing, which is normal. But I wish they could get paid for doing stuff for the job that they were doing, I remember the first night I saw Berry Gordy. Okay, listen, I just want to glean from you. I just want to hear all the stories, okay? And I wore a tight gold dress, wow, to get his attention and perform Mary Wells' My Guy. And he signed me up in 1964. Wow. I was the first Motown artist from Cali. That's awesome. That is awesome. That's exciting. Aw, that's beautiful. Crystal said should have went to Morgan. Maybe, okay. Maybe, because y'all even have like, there's like a sorority and fraternity for music specifically. Anyway, I do envy, okay, on one hand, I envy HBCU experiences because I feel like you get every kind of Black person there. But then again, I do feel like I got that experience in PG County where you had the Black nerds, you had the band geeks, you had, and really the band geeks were band geeks, but they were still cool. Like, I don't know, it was weird. And then you had, let's say that, like the anime, like the Black people who were into anime and martial arts and woodworking. And I love that PG County was just this, like, this beautiful melting pot of all kind of Black folk, so that I knew that Black people didn't have to be a monolith. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't have to be one thing. And that you could be multiple things at the same time. The jocks, the people who play basketball, they were into woodwork. They were into IT. They were into like making music. And so I really do believe that I had it's not a college, but I had an HBCU like experience in high school. It would have been beautiful though to have that in college as well. Because I think when I went to Towson, it was a culture shock for me because I was like, whoa, like, y'all get down like this? Like, what's going on? Like, what's happening? And so, yeah. Jay says, yeah, college is an expensive way to figure out what you like to do with the rest of your life. That's so sad, but it's true. It's so true. Miss Brenda says, all I do today is look after my husband. Oh, yay. Who's the same husband I married back in 1966. Come on. Absolutely. Your goals. Isn't that something? That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. That's awesome. But yeah, so I was in college and basically studying things that I'm just kind of like, okay. Wingable 500. Yes. Okay. So from a fellow Largonian, Largo had cliques, but it also didn't at the same time. Exactly. Right. Like, yes, all the jocks hung together. All the artsy people hung together, but everybody just kind of commingled, which was like, so even when I watch like these shows about cliques in high school, mostly at like these white high schools, I'm like, I can't relate to any of this. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Like this mean girl type stuff. Granted, there were some mean people in Largo High School. There were fights for sure. Okay. But like, I don't know, this like hierarchy of like, oh, this person's popular and therefore I can't, touch the ground that they walk on. I don't relate to that. I can't relate to that. And I wasn't a popular person in high school. But I was content and comfortable with that. I didn't want to be popular. I had my friends and I was good. So I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but Largo, I agree. It definitely had cliques, but it didn't at the same time. So yes. So I do feel like in high school, I got to taste test everything. And then in college, I was like, oh, I'm forced to be here every single day. And, I'm paying all this money for these lectures. And it's just not resonating with me. These white teachers, these white professors, a lot of times I was the only Black person in class. And so I had this experience at Towson where one of my professors was talking about Blackness. And so because I was the only Black person in that class, they looked at me and asked me, oh, it was a gentleman. He was like, oh, what is your experience as a Black woman in America? And I'm like, how? My experience is not every Black woman's experience in America. Like, anyway, dealing with like little small stuff like that, you kind of zone out. You kind of like, okay, okay, girl, like I have to be here, but I don't want to be here. And so like you're taking in these experiences, but at the same time, I was nourishing my own passions and projects on the side. Like again, in between classes, writing stories, writing songs, taking pictures with my little phone that I had. I didn't really have a camera at the time, but when I did get a camera, I was taking pictures of everything. And again, I'm glad that I had the opportunity to be in a different place, but really I didn't need to go to college to figure out what I wanted to do because I always wanted to do it. However, I do feel like a lot of school systems make us pick like one thing. What is this one major you're going to major? Maybe two and maybe a minor, right? So maybe tops three. Like what are the three things, if you can handle it, what are the three things you're going to study to do for the rest of your life? And that question paralyzed me because even though I was studying this stuff, I was like, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? No, I kind of want to live like a million lives. I want to live a life where I'm doing a million things and doing everything that I want to do. And so I know that, yes, ASL is nice, but it's not all that I am. And I felt like I didn't fit in because everybody could say, oh yeah, I want to be this when I grow up. I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be a service technician. I want to be whatever it was. And for me, I'm like, I want to be multiple things, but there was no space and no one to be like, oh, it's okay to be multiple things and to want to do multiple things in your life. It was like, this is one thing, this is your gift, and that's it, and that's all you got to do. And that felt restricting and paralyzing to me. Like I hated that. The Twin Puppet Show. Hi, welcome. Wow, look at you. Love your hair. Thank you. It's been blonde for a minute, but it's been wrapped up because I didn't know how I felt about it yet. But thank you. I appreciate that. Chris Clark, hi. What you doing, Brenda? He's got me by the day about to join. Oh no. That's funny. Yes, welcome. Jasmine, hi. Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. I just wanted to, do something different. So I was like, you know what, let's go blonde. And I might go pink after this. We'll see. Who knows? Chris, I'm okay. Just old. Oh no. I was sitting looking at this raven. As you know, I'm in Arizona. Ooh. In with the wilderness. That's awesome. That sounds beautiful. Jasmine says, I want to be multiple things. That's it. Exactly. Like who said that we had to be one thing? And I don't think okay, let's go back to this word, multipassionate. What does that mean? For me, it means that you have multiple passions. It means that you're passionate about more than just one thing. And if someone told you you can only do one thing for the rest of your life, you feel like either you're stuck and you can't choose, or like this is death. This is what death is, right? Like this sucks. Having to choose one thing and to be known for one thing. And I really feel like people do that to us because like we want to know where to categorize people. We want to know, okay, this is the lawyer, this is the doctor, this is the person who does X, Y, and Z. But I really feel like as people, we're multifaceted. So aren't all of us multi-passionate? And also understanding that just because you have a passion doesn't mean that it's your job, right? So yes, you could be a teacher, by day. You can teach, but you can also like moonlight as like a singer. You know what I mean? You can also, be an instructor who teaches guitar, or you could be whatever you want to do in your spare time, like a hobbyist. Like these things are it's okay to have multiple passions. And so I feel like for a long time I was trying to put myself in this box, like even with my YouTube channel, like everybody's saying, oh, you have to niche down, pick one thing to talk about, focus on one thing. And I'm like, well, do I have to create multiple YouTube channels to talk about all the stuff that I want to talk about? Do I have to create multiple Facebook pages and emails? And I tried that, and I tried it to create content and to keep up with all the stuff. At some point I had 3 podcasts because I was like, I have to divvy myself up in ways that are digestible to other people. And then I said, what if I just had the courage to be all of myself, to be human, to have multiple interests, to change my mind, to one day like take a picture and tomorrow sing a song? You know what I mean? Like, what if I actually gave myself permission to not have to fracture myself up, right? But just really be that multifaceted human being that we all are. You know what I mean? Brenda says, hi, Chris. Oh, yay. Aw. Wonderful. Thank you. Shaughnessy says, I remember learning what a Renaissance man, okay, was what a Renaissance man was as a kid and being like, okay, I'm gonna be a Renaissance woman. Exactly. Chris Clark says, oh Lord, I remember my father had me working in nightclubs at 15. Wow, I look 23. That's crazy. That's a life. That's interesting. That is interesting. Again, I love hearing people's stories. I love it. So keep them coming. I'm all down. I'm down for listening. But yeah, so I was like, what if I just allow myself to be all of myself? And I think for me, it felt like prison, like having to pick one thing, having to do one thing. So even like here on YouTube, it's like, yeah, you'll see music videos. You'll also see encouraging videos. You might even see some photography videos. I might talk about writing. Like, I want to be confident and comfortable and make people uncomfortable in the fact that they cannot define me by one thing. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like when people ask you, oh, what do you do? Right? That's the first question they ask you. And I'm like, well, I do a lot of things, right? Like, and so my go-to to make it easy is just be like, I'm a multi-passionate creative. What does that mean? Like, and so they'll usually ask like, oh, what does that mean? And so I tell them, yeah, my main 3 things are photography, music, and writing. However, I'm also a serial hobbyist. So I'm very clear to say, even though I don't do these things professionally, I still get great enjoyment and pleasure from those things. And, I want people to be able to define themselves by more than just what they make money from. I want them to really see themselves as a whole person. And so maybe for you like canoeing or something, yeah, maybe you're not a professional canoeer. I don't even know what that would be, but maybe you like canoeing. Like, I would love for someone, if I ask them, hey, what do you do? And they say, in my spare time, I like canoeing. I love canoeing. It's a lot of fun. It's freeing. It makes me feel good. Like, wouldn't that be beautiful? I guess I feel like, and I keep saying I feel like, but this society that we live under makes it seem like if it's not making money, then it's not valuable. And so these parts of ourselves that aren't making us money, all of a sudden don't become valuable anymore. But these things that can't really be priced with money are really the most important parts of us. Like, yes, you clock into a job every single day, but who are you to your friends? Who are you to your spouses? I've always thought, like, is the plural for spouses spice? Like, should it be spice? Anyway, it's a joke. But anyway, so it's a bad joke. So like, it's like, should we really define ourselves by what we make money by? Or like, should we really define ourselves by who we are? Like, really, what things bring us joy? What things light us up? And for some people, it is their job. For some people, they're blessed enough to have a job where they're like, no, this is what I do every day. But what about the people who have multiple passions? What about those people who can't tell you, who can't choose one thing? What are they supposed to say? And so I'm here to let you know that if you're multi-passionate just like me, you're not crazy, you're not scatterbrained. A lot of people are afraid to tell, people who are multi-passionate are afraid to tell people their multiple projects. Like, I have a list of like 100 plus projects that I want to do before I pass away, right? And that list is probably just going to grow longer and longer. And sometimes I'm afraid of telling people my projects because I don't want them to think like, oh, she's scatterbrained. Oh, she don't know what she's doing. She's not focused. She's all over the place, blah, 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 and really it's like, no, I am focused. I'm focused on multiple things. And so I'm going to talk about it in a second because there is a benefit to that, but there are things that we should consider as multi-passionate people. So, comments. All right. Shaughnessy says, I know someone on YouTube who's a lawyer, passed her bar and everything and quit her job and now does YouTube full time and has her own business helping influencers / entrepreneurs understand contracts. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. And also I love the fact that she still used some of that law degree, right? Like, she still used that law information to figure it out and do her own thing and do it her way. I think that's awesome. And there are people, we need people like that because these contracts be like, they be getting over on people all the time. She quit the law office because they were getting on her about having her social media platform. Why? What is it with that? What is it? Why do people think that just because you have another thing, and that's another thing I'm talking about, the fear of people saying, oh, you're into more than one thing, that means that you're not going to be able to give 110% here. It's like, no, I'm not supposed to give 110% here. I'm giving you however many hours of the day I'm supposed to be here, and then I'm taking that energy elsewhere and doing stuff for myself, and that's okay. But this society wants us to be so wrapped up in productivity and building someone else's something that any inkling of doing something for ourselves is looked at as like, oh, you're not focused. you're not driven, you're not going hard enough, you're not doing enough. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, I do more than one thing and it's okay. Miss Brenda says, our elegance teacher at Motown, oh wow, Miss Maxine Powell, obviously taught you not to protrude the buttocks as well. Oh, snap. Oh, rest in peace. Yes. Crystal says, exactly, all over the place. That's what people always thought of me. See? And it's discouraging because you're like, oh, maybe there is something wrong with me. Like, we start to buy into this thought, like, oh, maybe I am the problem. Maybe I do. Maybe I don't know. I don't know my life's purpose. When really it's like, you do know. You, like, again, we talked about purpose before. I do believe people have more than one purpose. However, what is my one thing? What is my one thing in life? And so many people spend their whole lives looking for one thing that they end up missing their entire lives. Their whole life passes them by because they're not willing to accept the gift of having multiple passions or multiple interests or multiple hobbies or multiple businesses, whatever you want to make it into. Like, some people are so burdened, and I get it because I felt that way too. Like, so many people are so burdened by the fact that they have multiple things and they feel like they're inadequate because they don't fit someone else's mold or idea of what someone who is, I don't know, thorough or focused looks like. And that's just not the case. Marbrisa music, please tell me if I'm pronouncing this right. Welcome. Totally relate, and hard to also figure out what you want to do while pursuing music. I like painting, carpentry. That's cool. Design work, teaching, journalism. Yes, absolutely. Like, and it's okay to have multiple interests. So I wanted to do this quick, like, to show you what I'm talking about, because even though I feel like it's okay for us to have multiple interests, we still have to be careful about how we distribute the energy towards those multiple buckets. So if you think about, let's just draw it. Let's just draw it because it makes more sense to me that way. Let me share the screen first. Yay. Okay. All right. So can you see this? Okay. Yes. All right. So this example I had is like, you have a heart, right? And again, I draw for fun. I should say that starting out. So bear with me. All right. So you have a heart. Yay. You have a heart. And in this heart, like, lie all your passions, all the things you love. So you have writing. Ooh, girl. I hate that R, but it's okay. For the sake of time. So you have writing, you have photography, you have, what's something else? Music, of course. And so these things don't define you, but these things definitely make your life more enjoyable, which is really important. Like, beyond all the things that you do, all the things you create, all the time and energy you spend doing something or involved in something, you still matter before that. So that, let's just say that first, right? So on top of you actually enjoying your life with your friends and your family and, you know, being in good spirits and being healthy, here come these things that are like sparking, like, oh snap, like, I love that. You know, like, what is that? Like, you're just being intrigued by something. And so, you know, your heart is probably like, pretend these are different colors. Your heart is all lit up with like greens and like yellows and purples. And for other people, it might just be like, there's life and then there's like this one thing in the middle that they do, that they're drawn to. And so for people who are over here, right, it makes it look like, oh, my heart doesn't look like theirs. Like, is something wrong with me? Like, is something's off? Like, why can't I find one thing? So the movie Soul, right? In that movie, they were talking about a spark. And so I was like, this is cute, but I also am kind of like, like, they want someone to, like, they want the little souls. I don't want to give away too much of the movie, but I mean, I hope you saw it by now. It was cute. I suggest you go look at it. They had these little souls searching for their spark, their one thing, right, to find, and then like they can be free to like drop into bodies in the earth. And I'm butchering it. I'm not doing it any justice. But either way, they were trying to find this one thing for these souls, like, to light them up. Maybe it might be music or writing or food or whatever it was. And once they find their thing, then it's like, oh yes, now I'm ready to go into the earth. And so I get it. It's a movie. It's cute. It's about really the life being the spark itself. However, I felt kind of weird because I was like, well, I don't know if I knew what sparked me until I actually ran into those things, until I actually encountered something. Because I feel like you don't dream about what you want until someone shows you that it's available. You know, for singing, you know, I've been singing my whole life technically because my parents sang. And I don't mean they sang professionally. I mean like they just sung like to music. And so since music was always a part of our family, was always a part of our upbringing, yeah, it could seem like, oh yeah, like you were born singing, but I wasn't. I just copied what they were doing. And so it wasn't until like I bumped into like the little shooting the camera that you shot and you swipe. What am I thinking about? The throwaway cameras, like the whatever they're called. You would take the pictures, and I was just like enamored with the fact that I could capture a moment, that I could capture the people that I loved, my family. And so that was like that spark for me with photography. Again, with music, it was early. With writing, for 7 years, I was an only child, and journaling was my thing. I would make up stories because I wanted siblings. I wanted to have friends, and I wasn't in the neighborhood with the friends that I went to school with. And so I would make up these stories about these fake people. I would play Barbies and make up these stories before I could write. And so it wasn't until I was shown that outlet that I was sparked with that thing. Even though I feel like we're all creative, we don't know what things spark us until we bump into those things. And so I feel like for my heart, there was all this stuff. It was just all this stuff. And even dancing, I talked about this before. I used to love dancing. I used to want to be a dancer. I used to want to be an actress. I used to want to do all these things. I wanted to teach. And, you know, you're a child and you have this heart all lit up with all this little stuff. Just imagine these are other things until someone tells you that your heart has to look like this. And so now you're forced to choose like, okay, well, what am I going to take off my heart now? Like what thing do I have to focus on? And so of course, people are usually going to be talking about money and, you know, sustainability in the long run, which I think, yeah, it's important. But beyond that, I wish someone would have told me you can make a living from making music. Just do it this way. You can make a living from writing. Just do it this way. It doesn't have to look like this thing. So I get it. Like they were just doing the best they could. But I was really told that I had to have my heart look like this. And so again, for me, that's discouraging because I'm like, well, dang, something is wrong with me. Like I am all over the place. I can't sit straight. Like one of the reasons why I even got tested for tag program in PG County was because I was a weird kid. Like I was all over the place. Again, my dad was in the military. My mom, it was just me and her for a long time. My great grandmother stayed with me and took care of me for a little bit. But beyond that, it was just kind of me. So I was weird. And so I went into school and I was just very bored because my mom taught me how to spell before I guess it was time in the county. And so I was bored. So I would do things like throw off my shoes and like sit in a corner and people would make fun of me. It was just, I had no social skills. And so they tested me for the tag program because they're like, you know, she seems a little bored. Maybe she needs more, you know, more fire under her butt. And so I took the test and I passed. But I do feel like all kids have the potential to be in the tag program if they were given the opportunity to be in the tag program. That's a whole other conversation, like I said. But anyway, I understood that there was something different about me. But the whole time I was in school, everybody was trying to condition me to fit this other mold. And it just was not working. And so I was at war with myself because it's like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I really want to do. And then when your counselor asks you, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you're like, I don't know. I have no idea. Let me check the comments. Yes. Okay. Brenda says, preach. Well, I'm doing uni in September to do French for 4 years. That's exciting. The third years in France. I can't wait. That's awesome. I wish I could go abroad. That's awesome. That's cool. All right. Brenda Holloway, hearts and laughs. Jay says it can definitely take time and exploration to figure out the things and desires. English is hard, y'all. Excuse me. Okay, here we go. It can definitely take time and exploration to figure out the things and desires that stir up your soul. I agree. And it does take time. And I don't feel like we have it all figured out until we get to the end of our lives. I feel like we will always be inspired. We will always be encouraged. We will always be lit up by something. Hopefully, that's my hope. I hope that 30 years from now, I'm lit up by something else. And I'm like, ooh, let me try this. Let me take up bottlenose. I don't know where I was going with dolphins, but let me take up snorkeling or let me take up whatever it is. Like I'm trying to live a vibrant life. Like Jamal always talks about living a vibrant life. I agree. Like I plan on being inspired until I'm no longer here. I just want to say in front of everyone that Chris and Brenda, you both should have been bigger than Diana Ross. I love it. I love it. Winged Wolf 500 says, kind of like the movie Pleasantville, having to be like everyone else. Exactly, exactly. And sadly, and it's not all the teachers. It's really the people above the teachers. I feel like they're trying to make us products of the county. So like they're trying to make us employable people. They're trying to make us successful people in the community. And so their version of success looks a certain way, then they are going to try to make us be that thing. And so it's like, there's no room for creativity here. You got to pay bills. You know what I'm saying? And so I feel like they're doing the best they can, but I do feel like, again, school is a place that a lot of dreams die because a lot of teachers tell you, oh, you can't do this, or there's no hope for you here, or you're not good at this right now, so therefore you're not going to be good at it later. It's just a lot. It's a lot. Jay says, and sometimes you can't find a perfect image of what you want in life. Your desires will guide you, but ultimately we all have to design our own thing for ourselves. I totally agree. Says I'm being serious. Oh, that's sweet. Chris Clark says she is huge. That girl kicks ass on stage. What a dang powerhouse. And heart just as big. Oh, that's sweet. Shaughnessy says, so crazy how we go from being kids with all these different ideas about what we want to do, then become adults and can't figure it out. It is crazy. It is crazy. And it doesn't make any sense because, again, I think I talked about this before. This need to find yourself. I don't think we're lost. I think that we're just buried underneath all this stuff. Like, we're buried underneath all of these expectations and all the things that people said to us and told us we couldn't be. Like, I feel like who we are is always with us. We don't have to find ourselves. We're here. But like, we have to take off all this extra stuff that's not true about us and be brave enough to really reopen to the world. Here I am, world. Like, I'm going to do my thing. And sometimes that childlike tenacity and bravery is hard to like rile back up as an adult because we've been so defeated for so long. You know what I'm saying? Kim, hi. Also, I think there are different stirs and desires in different seasons. I totally agree. And we're actually about to go there in a second. You're on it. Jay says adulting can definitely be a dream killer. For sure. For sure. When you got to pay bills and you got dreams, it's hard to be like, all right, I'm still going to make this thing for sure. Shaughnessy says, yes, your true self is just suppressed and you have to rediscover you. Exactly. I totally agree. So going back to these drawings, right? Much like what Kim just said, like in different seasons, some of your desires and things are stirred up at different times. And I also want to reference that it's okay to have, like, again, like I told you, I have a list of like 100 plus things I want to do in this lifetime. Will I get them all done? Hopefully I will. If not, it's really not that big of a deal. It's not like earth shattering if I don't do it because I know where I'm going and I'm good and it's better than here anyway, right? So, but I will be honest and say that there is a fear in me that I won't reach the potential that people keep telling me that I have. And it's like, okay, like I'm trying to muscle through, I'm trying to keep going, I'm trying to be patient, I'm trying to wait my turn. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if it doesn't happen, I just want to make sure that I'm living a whole soulful life, like a whole life. And even if I never become famous, even if nobody ever knows my name, I'm still going to make music. I'm still going to sing because this is something that brings me joy. And talking about that, I want to show an example of how it's important to, when you're multi-passionate, to like distribute your energy wisely. So, as Kim said, in different seasons require different things, right? So if you're in a season where, Kim, I'm going to use it as an example. I'm not a mother. However, like hearing other mothers talk about their seasons of like, especially new motherhood, it's a season where you got to figure everything out, right? So what you were expecting yourself to do 5 years ago when you didn't have children, it's not kind to yourself to expect yourself to be able to pump out the same amount of content or music or whatever it is that you do when you're just like bringing new life into the world, right? So let's see. Can I get a circle? A perfect circle? There we go. All right. So much like a pie chart, I feel like there will always be these pieces. So these pieces in the heart, right? Like these things that are in us that just like kind of like, yes, these are the things. This makes me happy. I do feel like even though that's always going to be a part of us, I do feel like sometimes we have to like cut the slice a different way. So if let's say for a season, I don't know, for a season, maybe while you're in school, I'll talk about myself. While I was in school, I couldn't really make as much music as I wanted to make because most of my days were overcome with like classes and then other meetings and other like organizations and stuff like that. And so I didn't really have time to create as much music as I wanted to create. So maybe for that season of life, the amount of music I created was like this much, right? And in schooling was probably this much, right? And again, it's not really a passion, but I mean, it was something I was paying to do, so I was still there. So, well, anyway, so this is like music. And then, then I had to work. So, because I needed, gotta pay my bills. So I had to work. What else did I do? Other organizations and stuff I was a part of. Orgs. Extracurricular things. What else? Friends, like just having a social life. You know what I mean? Just having a social life. And again, this is not to scale, but it's just an example of like how we have to divvy our life up in a way that makes sense for us in specific seasons. So again, if I'm really school heavy right now, I'm not going to have time to do all this creative stuff and to go travel and to, do all these things that I want to do. If I knew what I knew now, my pie would look totally different back then as it did. But we rock with it. We keep on moving. So what'd I do? Okay, yeah. I think it's important that we be kind to ourselves and be realistic about what season in life we're in, right? Because if we're not realistic, then we're going to be judging ourselves based off of, first of all, why are we judging ourselves in the first place? We're only human, but then we're going to be judging ourselves based on where we were 10, 15 years ago. And you're like, I'm not in that season no more, sis. It's not going to work the same way. Yes. Okay. Oh, Kim says, yep, I have a whole baby now. A whole baby, Kim. A whole baby. This is beautiful. He's getting so big. It's crazy. Time is flying. But yes, like, so in different seasons of your life, they require different things. And I think that we should be kind and generous enough with ourselves to be okay with that. And another example that I wanted to share, it's springtime officially. And I'm going to try my best to draw a pot because, again, like I said, I do what I can. All right, so this is a pot. And in this pot, there's a plant growing, right? Let me do a different color. Y'all probably like, girl, it's not that serious. Okay, so you have a plant growing. So in this plant, like, if you really look at blooms, so spring I think is beautiful because I think in wintertime, people assume that things are dead right in the wintertime, but they're not. They're just sleeping. Things are hibernating. Things are under the ground. Like the bulbs are still alive. They're very much alive. But because it looks like there are no leaves, there are no blooms, there are no animals out, there are no insects. Listen, this is the year of the cicada for all my people on the East Coast. Prepare yourself, okay? The cicadas have been down there for 17 years. It's this year, I think they're supposed to be coming back. And I think back to in middle school when they were out there and I'm just like shuddering at the thought because that was a traumatic experience for me. But anywho, so these insects and things are just underground. They're just sleeping. And so spring is when everything just kind of comes up like, hey everybody, it's officially like warm enough for me to exist, for me to live. Because if it tries to bloom, when you have like those days in the winter time where it's been like a warm streak, those flowers bloom. And then what happens when the winter comes back? It dies. Like it dies because it's not able to be sustained in that environment. So much like we just talked about, like working in your seasons, as a multi-passionate creative, when you're interested in multiple things, it's important that we're distributing energy wisely and efficiently. Another example I like to use is trees, right? And we're going to get to the plant, I promise. Another example I like to talk about is trees. So trees, when they shed their leaves in the fall, they shed their leaves because, one, there's going to be less sun. So leaves, okay, going back to the science days, right? They take in the sun, they produce energy, all that good stuff. And so the leaves, if there's no sun, if it's cold, right, it takes energy to keep those leaves alive. So the tree has to make a decision to be like, okay, listen, it's getting cold. The seasons are changing. There's not as much sun. And so therefore, I don't really have need of these leaves right now. I need to conserve energy instead of putting energy out, right? And again, this is my abbreviated version. Don't quote me. But like, you have to conserve energy. The tree has to conserve energy. It's just like, God, you're just so amazing. So the tree has to conserve energy. So even while the leaves are turning and they're beautiful and they're gorgeous, the trees literally are showing you how important it is. Like there's this quote that says the trees are showing us how beautiful it is to let things go. It literally is teaching us that we can't do everything in every season, right? We do have to let some stuff go, even for a little bit, because it's not like the trees let go of the leaves and the leaves never come back. No, the leaves come back with full force, and they're beautiful when they come back. It's gorgeous, and it's something to be celebrated. People come all the way across the world to come to DC to go see the Cherry Blossom Festival because the site is gorgeous. And I mean, I don't know what that's going to be like this year, but anyway, so the site is gorgeous. And so in the same way, when things are blooming in our lives, it's beautiful because it's in the right time. We can actually appreciate them and celebrate them. Oh Lord, Wingable 500 said this summer is gonna suck, and you made it sound like the monster from Jeepers Creepers. Listen, it is. Listen, that oh my gosh. And I was in 8th grade when the cicadas came out for the first time that I was alive, and let me tell you something. Kids were picking them up, throwing them on people. It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Jay says it's important to always also acknowledge that those passions and interests are important and should be protected and cultivated. Yes, because sometimes we sacrifice the life giving things. Sometimes we sacrifice the life giving things because of the outside pressures. Yes, which leads to us not fulfilling being ourselves and growing into who we are meant to be, choking our tree's growth. Come on, Jay, with this. Come on, Jay. I love that explanation. Good. That makes me happy. Because sometimes I'm like, does this make sense? Fits so well. Awesome. So when we're looking at, again, trees distributing their energy, the same thing happens with plants, right? When we talk about plants, we all know the scripture about remaining in the vine, right? Like remaining Christ being the vine. Okay, so when we talk about plants, again, this is all right. You feel me? Okay, so when you're talking about a plant or a tree, but I'm just going to talk about plants because it's the same situation except smaller. So when you're talking about a plant, the leaves, again, draw a little leaf. Little leaves. The leaves, again, are collecting that sun, that energy. Sometimes it might be a flower bloomed on the end. And again, I have an orchid who refuses to bloom, and I'm just like, girl, get it together, please. Please. But again, I'm trying to be patient. I don't know what that is. Anywho, so you have these stems. And so the thing is, when flowers are blooming, again, like I said, it needs to have the right atmosphere, the right season, the right sunlight. Listen, I got plants, plants can be very temperamental, and it can be very depressing when they die because maybe they got too much sun. Maybe it was too early. Maybe, maybe they weren't really prepared for all that sun to be directly on them. Maybe they're more built for behind the scenes. And so I feel like the same thing happens with us and in our lives. Maybe that hobby or that interest you have isn't meant to be shown yet because, like Jay said, you're doing all the stuff and it's before your time. At our meetup, we had a Black Girl Creative meetup this Saturday, and a woman was talking about her experience with singing in the church and how the church sometimes, they take people's gifts and they're like, oh, come and bring it, keep bringing it, keep coming, keep doing it. And for her, because she was just learning about her gift, it was very intimidating and it was very draining for her. And she actually lost the love to sing because her gift wasn't being used kindly and it wasn't being used in a way that was in her season. Like she was out of season. And so the gift she still has, like I told her, I was like, you still got the gift, you know what I'm saying? But maybe it just wasn't the time for it to come out. And I feel like the same thing happens with us. Like we're looking to bloom all the time. We're looking to always be in full bloom. We're looking to be productive and we're looking to be like, look at me shine and look at me growing. And maybe you just need to be like underground growing. Like there's this theory, I think it is true, about bamboo and how bamboo grows down first. Like I think they say it grows down for like years. And so you can look at a bamboo shoot and be like, this thing ain't growing. Like, what's up? What's going on? Like, I need my money back or whatever it is. But then once it finally does grow enough down deep, then it starts blooming because then it's time. Because bamboo, if you touch bamboo, it's not very strong. I mean, it's sturdy, but it's not like a tree. You know what I'm saying? So if a hurricane came through and it wasn't deeply rooted enough, it'd be blown away. And I feel like the same thing happens with our things. So we can look at this tree plant thing, and like these blooms are these leaves, sorry. these leaves are our multiple interests, right? Like singing, writing, photography. Ooh, that's the wrong color. It's okay. Right? But sometimes in order for one thing to grow, right, we got to snip it off. We got to cut off those things, right? Because it's sucking the energy out of the healthier plant. So again, just let's talk about grapes. So grapes on a vine. Yeah, when they first come, it's like, okay, this is nice, but it could be better. Then it's cut, it's pruned so that something more can grow, right? Or it's pruned because it's not enough energy is going towards a plant that needs help. So in the same way, like we talk about trees, there's like this system where trees work together. It's amazing. It's beautiful. Marcus, if he's here, he's read up about it, how trees are just like phenomenal and they're very communal and they take care of their tree neighbors. And so it's like you just want to cry. So when something needs help, when something is weak or needs more energy, sometimes it's best not to give energy to something else so that we can actually nurture this thing. So photography, for example, I'm only a photographer like outside from like April until November. December, January, February are very slow months for me. And that's okay because it's like, first of all, nobody wants to go outside and that's fine. And it's cold and, nothing exciting besides Christmas is really happening. So for me, it's like, okay, so during those 3 months that I'm not doing anything, I'm going to work on my music now. I'm going to work on trying hobbies and trying new things because I don't have to put all that energy into photography. When I'm in a photography season, it's really hard for me to do anything else because it's very draining. It's very draining. And so, and it's not draining in a bad way, but it just takes a lot of energy, especially when I was doing weddings, forget about it. So I think it's important for us to be realistic with ourselves about what we can handle, even when we have multiple interests. There's nothing wrong with having the interest, but it's really important to be wise about how we're spending our time and energy on those things. I hope that makes sense, y'all. Oh, yay! Marcus says he's here. Yay, awesome. Tell him about the trees, Marcus. No, I know you can't do that in the chat, but yes. Feel like I skipped one. Oh, yay. Okay. Shaughnessy says, wow, I love that concept of somebody maybe trying to use their gift out of season. For real. It's like there's nothing wrong with the gift. And you're like, why is this not working? Why is it not happening? Maybe you are growing deep downer. Maybe you're going deep down first to grow out. But also, yeah, maybe it's just out of season. Maybe it's just not the time. And or like even when it's growing underneath. So during photography season, for example, the example I gave, like even when I'm taking pictures, I might not be recording like in the studio, but on my phone, I have like hundreds of voice memos of songs that I just need to record. You know what I'm saying? Like I have hundreds of voice memos because I know that I don't have the energy to record these songs right now, but I do want to remember them later on when I do have the energy. So working the gift is still there. Like doing the thing is still there, but it's just not being done like full out as I would like in the wintertime or whenever. And so even in the season, I'm trying to better balance that. Like I have ideas for photography so I can do all three, writing, photography, and music this summer because I'm trying to create. And a tip that I want to give for people who have multiple interests, I'm trying this new thing where I'm giving myself 30-day projects. So this is more about the stuff that I'm interested in. So for 30 days, if you guys know, like if you've been here, I've been doing loops. So like on my loop station, I'm going to do 30 days of loops, 30 days of haikus, 30 days of like drawing. What else? I just made a whole list of things that I'm giving myself time and permission to do for fun. Time and permission to do that doesn't have to be productive because I know that if I'm waiting for, again, perfect opportunity to try all these things I want to try, they're never going to get done. And also as a multi-passionate creative, I feel like sometimes we need an out. We need to be like, okay, there's only 30 days that I have to commit to this one thing because it's really hard to just pick one thing. But if I can say, okay, for 30 days, I'm going to do this one thing, on top of whatever else I'm doing, it gives me the room to be as creative as I want to be, to do all the things I want to do, to be able to mash together photography and writing and music and whatever else and create little mini projects and take 30 days to do that thing. You know what I mean? So I know for a lot of people who feel this way, who feel like, I want to do multiple things, but there's just not enough time. Give yourself like, for 30 days, I'm gonna do this one thing. Or for 5 minutes a day, I'm going to do this thing. And then 5 minutes a day, I'm going to do something else. Just to be able to give yourself some idea if you like the thing or not. You know what I'm saying? Because again, as we talked about at the meetup on Saturday, there's a difference between interests, hobbies, passions, and a business, right? Again, interest is just something that and I'm going to do a podcast on that too, but interest is just something you're interested in. You're curious about it. And so for a lot of people, they use this, like the interest, like, oh, I got to buy all the stuff. I got to do all the things, right? I have to prepare. You don't even know if you like it or not. Give yourself 30 days to figure out if you like the thing anyway. Like you might not, you might hate it. And then you have all this product or all this equipment that you don't need, all this money you spent that you're like, oh, this was just an interest. I wasn't really feeling it. Then you have hobbies, which I feel like everybody should have. But a lot of people don't, because we're told that everything we do has to be monetized. Everything we do has to be a business. And that's not the case. Some stuff can just be for fun. And hobbies are supposed to be nourishing for you. Oh, yay. Hi. Hi, Tasha. I'm glad you're here. So hobbies, and no worry, it's fine. And hobbies, again, are just supposed to be nourishing for you. Like, it's not supposed to add to your worth. And I think sometimes it's really hard because it's just like, well, I can monetize this. I can make a business out of this thing. And maybe later on you will, but really give yourself time to just have hobbies, for it just to be fun. And then there's passions, which again could be passion projects. It doesn't necessarily have to be something you make money from, but it's something that like lights you up, that it could light you up in a good way, but it could also make you angry. It can make you frustrated and sad. Like if you go out on the street, if somebody were to be like, oh my God, all this plastic on the highway, like this is really frustrating to me. All these turtles, like whatever they think about, that could be something that they're passionate about. Having a clean space, having a clean ocean, having a clean community. These are things that can fuel passion projects that don't necessarily have to make money, but just things that, are important to their heart and their soul. And then you have businesses and services, which essentially is just something you're providing that meets someone's need for money. That's all it is. So knowing the difference between these four things as a multi-passionate creative is important, because again, some things are just interests. Some things you're just like, oh, that looks cool. And for that, all you gotta do is watch YouTube. Like that's the need is met, For hobbies, again, just doing stuff for fun. Again, for what I say, passions, again, you can make a passion project or just go clean out the road if you want to, if the plastic is bothering you that much, you know what I'm saying? And then businesses and services are more about a service you provide for somebody else, meeting a need that you have the ability to meet for money or for whatever exchange is working for you. So if you're a multi-passionate person, one, you're not alone, you're not crazy, you're not scatterbrained, you're not a jack of all trades. Like people look down on multi-passionate people so often because it's just so easy because it's so hard to categorize them. Instead of really trying to figure out, oh, they actually are interested in multiple things, it's easier just to say they don't know what they're talking about, they don't know what they're doing, they're a jack of all trades or a master of none. I resent that. I don't think that's a thing. I mean, I felt that way because I resent that because I felt that way for so long. Like, I'll never master anything because I'm interested in too many things. Like everybody's saying like, oh, you need to have laser focus on one thing or else you'll never be good at it. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's true. And I do think that everyone technically is multi-passionate because they're passionate more than just about their job, more than about travel or food or whatever. We're all multifaceted people. And so therefore I feel like we should start opening our scope and view of people to more than just what they do for money, what they do. You know what I'm saying? Like it should really be about what nourishes you, what completes you, what makes you feel like a person. And so if you're a multi-passionate person, do multiple things, but really be intentional about how you spend your time and energy doing those things, because we can't do everything at once. Like we can do everything, we can't just do it at once. Like we can do maybe 3 things at a time, but beyond that, you're going to be exhausted and you're going to be all over the place. So I think it's really important to make dedicated time for specific things and seasons for it. Literally, maybe you can follow the seasons or follow the months. Like I said, you can do 12 things in a year. Like we underestimate how much we can get done in 30 days. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, January, you can do one thing, February, another thing. And at the end of the year, you have 12 projects instead of like being all over the place and like, distributing your energy inefficiently. And then you've got nothing done. When instead at the end of the year, you have 12 projects to show for this thing that you want to do. And so if you're like me, take the journey with me. Starting next month, I'm actually having a creativity challenge. So I wasn't even gonna share this, but thank you, God. So I'm having a creativity challenge. If you're interested, let me know. I'm just gonna send you a calendar. So you can do this on your own if you want to. But every day for a month, I'm gonna be doing one thing for 15 minutes towards one goal. One thing for 15 minutes towards one goal. And so I really think that's good for people who have these projects in mind that seem really big, that seem like, oh, I'll never get this done, I'll never get this completed. When you could take 15 minutes a day Don't know how many minutes that is altogether, but that's a long time. And so you'll get more done in that 15 minutes than you would like just one day doing that one thing, if that makes sense. So if you're interested, let me know. Yay. The Art of Living Out Loud. Hi. I don't either. I hate that saying. Me too. Me too. I hate it. Tasha says, that's exactly how I feel. Thank you for breaking that down and dissipating that thought. Of course, you're welcome. Seasons for each creative thing. Yes, absolutely. You can do all the things. You can. And I feel like, why would God give you all these things to do if you couldn't do it? You know what I'm saying? And again, some things are just hobbies and interests. Some things are just, a passion project. And some things could be a business. Why not? Wing and Wolf 500 says, no balance equals burnout. Agreed. Exactly. Tasha says, I'm too loyal to being known for one thing instead of being loyal to who I am. Yes. Multi-passionate, multi-creative. Exactly. You be true to who you are. And be true to who you are. And I really feel like you being free in who you are frees other people, because I feel like so many people have held so tightly to this idea, like, oh, I can only be one thing for so long, that the idea of being anything else, maybe they're thinking about criticisms that other people gave to them, and so therefore they're like, oh, I can't do this thing because I'm embarrassed. I don't want people to think like, oh, here she go again trying another project, and here she go again trying another project. That's amazing, right? And so a lot of people don't have that freedom that you have, and so I try to use that as encouragement to be myself, to be like, okay, there are other people who need to be themselves, and so I need to be myself so other people feel free enough to be themselves. So yeah, I agree. Same. Like when people, oh, you're the photographer, and I'm like, yes, but I also, you know what I mean? Like being bold enough to bring all of myself to the table. And yes, if they're just asking about taking photo shoots, there's no need for me to be like, and I do this, and I do that, and I do that. There's no need for that. But when people try to put me in one category, I wince, and I'm just like, you know what? No, I do multiple things. Like, that's not all I do. I also do X, Y, and Z. I also am a podcaster. I also interview other people. Like, this is the stuff that I feel like is my life's work. You know what I mean? And so if I feel like that's my life's work, then why am I putting it in a box and putting it aside? I think it brings God joy to embrace all of us, embrace all of ourselves. So yeah, girl, it's just like, I'm not just a mom. Okay. I've heard this from multiple women, and that sucks. First of all, okay. Yes, I have thoughts, but I'm not a mom. So like my frustrations are kind of ignorant, but it's still like, you are more than just a mom. You are more than a mom. And what is just a mom? You know what I'm saying? Like, first of all, to be a mother is to be a million things at one time. But that's a whole other conversation. Because people like to be like, oh, you're just a mom. It's like, excuse me? Like, no, you are a negotiator. Like, you are a therapist. You're so much. You know what I'm saying? But yes, I'm a mom, a sister, daughter, therapist, granddaughter, etc. Exactly. You're more than that. And again, it's people's need to put people in boxes, because if they're not in a box and they feel uncomfortable, it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them. And I'm just like, no, you're going to get this. You're going to get this stuff. You can get who I am and understand that I am multiple things. And just a mom. Exactly. What is that? What is just a mom? Are you kidding me? That's crazy. That's absurd. The Art of Living Out Loud says, people never say the full quote, and I didn't know it until recently. Jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than the master Jack of all trades, master of none, though oftentimes better than the master of none. Yes. Is it one? The master of one? But yes, I agree. Like, would you rather have a knife, like, those knives that have like all the things, like a screwdriver and a blade and whatever else, and it's just like one knife for one thing? I would rather have the switchblade. It might not be as efficient and effective as like a blade made for one thing or a knife made for one thing, but I can get multiple things done. You feel me? Like, I would rather have that knife when I'm in a I know. Yes, one exactly. I would rather have that knife that has multiple things, the little Swiss Army knife. This is like me opening the knife with multiple things, and just like, oh, it's just a knife for cutting meats. It's like, girl, we got to cut open a rope. What are we going to do with that? But yes, Swingable 500 says, well, moms are too many things to name. Too many things to name. Hello? Kim, yes, too many to name. Yes. I love y'all giving moms props here, because that is not a job that I think is easy in the least. But yes, I hope that this is encouraging. I hope that you were able to take something from this and understand that it is a gift to be multi-passionate. It's a gift, and it is an honor to be able to own it and to be proud of that, instead of being like, oh, I don't know. You do know. You know exactly what you want to do, and it's okay to own those things. It's okay to own those things, and also understand that some things, like I said, come in seasons. You can't do everything at the same time, but you can make a plan for yourself so that you can touch all the things. You know what I mean? And figure out what you like and what you love. And so someone mentioned earlier, like, about the Renaissance man. Like, yes, like, I want to be able to, again, I want to live 100 lives. I want to do all the things. I want to be able to get to the end of my life, whenever that is, to be like, you know what? I lived. I did that thing. I tasted this. You touched that. I made this. Even if I made it once, like, I don't have to make it a profession. I don't have to be defined by that thing that I try. I can literally make a chair and be like, all right, I made a chair once and that's enough. That was good enough. We're moving on, you know? So I don't know. That's my encouragement for you. Like, if you're multi-passionate, I feel like you are, because I feel like everybody is. Understand that you're not alone. You're not crazy. You're not scatterbrained. And again, you'd rather be a master. You'd rather be, what is it? Like the phrase, like, yes, jack of all trades, master of none. Like they said, like, is why can't I find it? Oftentimes better than a master of one. Exactly. So there's beauty in it. There's beauty in you doing multiple things, and you don't have to explain that to anybody. You don't have to explain yourself to death. Like, you are because you are. And God gifted you with all these things. It's not a burden. It's a gift. The Art of Living Out Loud says, me too, girl. Yes. So I'm just getting to this place where I'm just like, you know what? Here I am, all of me. And I'm just going to do the daggone thing and see what sticks and see what happens and see where we go from here. I also wanted to share this with you guys. So I know that I come here on Mondays and Tuesdays. And so it was recommended by somebody. Shout out to you. You know who you are. To go live on Mondays and to do both music and talking. Would that be too much for y'all? I just want to know. Would that be too much? Instead of going 2 days. And then if you want to, I have a Patreon, and on Patreon, I'm going to start working on my EP. And so, like I said, in April, my hope is to create a loop every single day. And so you'll be able to get the downloads of those loops. It's no pressure if you don't want to do it. This is not a sale. But I just wanted to share that and get you all's opinion about that, about just going live on Monday as opposed to Monday and Tuesday, because I know y'all be busy and y'all have things to do. And I really appreciate you all's support, for real. But yeah, so anyway, leave a comment. Let me know what you think about that. And beyond that, I hope that you have a wonderful evening. It is 9:13. And I will be back tomorrow to do more music. And I will have a decision, I guess, made by tomorrow, hopefully, if people let me know what they think. And yeah, I love you guys. Keep creating, keep making stuff. Thank you so much for being here. And as always, I'm going to shout you out for being here. So let's go to the top. If you're still here, thank you for being here. And even if you're not, I appreciate you being here. Masika, Jay, girl groups in the 60s. Yay. Shaughnessy, Miss Brenda Holloway. Let's see. Crystal. Let's see. Winged Wolf 500. The Twins Puppet Show. Yay. Chris Clark. Yay. Jasmine. Marbrisa. And again, please tell me if I'm saying this wrong, because I don't want to butcher your name. Let's see. If I forgot your name, please let me know. I'm not finished yet, though. Kim. Did I say Kim already? Kim. And Marcus. Tasha. The Art of Living Out Loud. I think I said everybody. I think. Well, either way, thank you guys for being here. If I forgot you, please forgive me. Please forgive me. But I will be here, like I said, tomorrow to make music and keep creating the stuff. And yes, if you are interested in doing the creative challenge, let me know, because I'm going to be sending like daily encouragement for creatives and stuff like that. And just, just encouragement to keep doing the thing. So if you're interested, send me a message, DM, whatever you need to do. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Okay. Love you guys. Bye.